Today we will talk about the crime movie Logan Lucky. The movie begins with Jimmy Logan, who is a soccer player, but he retired due to a leg injury. We watch with him his daughter who lives with her mother after her parents separated. He agrees with her to attend her school party. Because of his leg injury, it was difficult for him to find a job. When he applied for a job, he did not tell them that he had an injury, and this is what caused him to be fired later from work after the manager found out about it. After that, he forgot the date of his daughter's school party, so he went to her to apologize to her. Meanwhile, he knew that his ex-wife would move to another place. He objects to this matter because he will not be able to see his daughter constantly, and he told her that he would appoint a lawyer to prevent her from moving. After that, he goes to the bar where his brother Clyde Logan works, who also has an injury, as his arm has been severed. We discover that the history of the family is a jinx in the injuries, as their aunt who won the lottery but she washed the ticket and lost the prize, as for their uncle who was executed by electric shock, and their mother who became ill because her husband went bankrupt. Jimmy also got hit in the leg, and Clyde's arm, which was blown off in the war by a mine. After that, customers enter the place and bully Clyde because of his severed arm. One of them was a famous person on the internet and he asked Clyde to film him while he was preparing his own drink, but in the meantime Jimmy intervened and beat this person who bullied his brother. At the same time, Clyde grabs his bottle of wine and sets their car on fire. The next day, Jimmy talks to his brother about a robbery he's planning, and the robbery was during a NASCAR race in North Carolina. He tells him that this sports center is not only for sports races only, but it is a place where there are apartments and there are also police and prison in the event that a fan riots. His brother objects and tells him that how could he think of stealing such a place. But his brother tells him that the pipes in this sports center are dilapidated, and he also told him that the land in this place was a place for waste, which made the land collapse and turn into sewers, and when they wanted to maintain it, they contacted the company that Jimmy used to work for, because this company has underground drilling experience. He told him that he was able to know the location of the racing money, where it is located, and that this money is transferred through underground tubes, and that these tubes are connected between the place of the race to the main safe. But they can't steal the safe on their own and they need someone with experience to blow up the safe. And that person is Joe Bang. But this person is already imprisoned, and their first task was to convince him to work with them in order to get him out of prison. They visited him in prison and told him the specifications of the safe. Which will facilitate the process of stealing and detonating it is the presence of construction work in place. And because of the construction work, the alarms have been turned off. They told him that they had prepared a plan to get him out of prison and then blow up the safe and then send him back to prison. He told them that he had to involve his brothers in this process to help them. Then they go to look for Joe's brothers. They were able to convince them to join them in the robbery. Also, the two brothers added their sister Melly with them in the robbery because she is skilled in driving. They begin to carry out the operation. Clyde drives into the store and is arrested and sentenced to 90 days in prison. In prison, he meets Joe in order to help him escape from prison to carry out the robbery. As for Jimmy, he goes to his former place of work in order to steal the blueprint for the sports center. He learned through his former co-worker at the company is about to finish their mission of repairing the pipes, which means that their plan will either be postponed or cancelled entirely. But Jimmy decides to continue with the plan, but he will make minor adjustments to the plan. On the day of the race, Joe is in jail pretending to be sick and throwing up, and quickly the guards transfer him to the prison medical clinic. There, he tells the nurse that he wants to go to the bathroom. Clyde was there cleaning up, so he tells the nurse that he's going to help Joe go to the bathroom. The two go to the bathroom, get out of the ventilation shaft, and go to the place where the prison car is. They managed to hide under the car and the guards could not discover it when they searched the car. Joe and Clyde had made a deal with someone in prison to make trouble in order to cover their prison break. On the way, the car stops at a gas station, and the two get out from under the car and get into Melly's car, which was waiting for them. We return to the prison again and see that the prisoners have taken the guards hostage, and all of this is a disguise for the disappearance of Joe and Clyde, who escaped from prison. The prison warden refuses to report what happened in the prison, and he prefers to deal with the matter himself. In the race, Jimmy can enter the workers' area. This is because he has the secret code for the door because he used to work with them previously. Meanwhile, Joe, Clyde, and his sister arrive at the race site. Melly stays outside and waits for them. As for the two, they enter the tunnel and meet Jimmy there. Joe prepares to blow up the pipes that carry the money instead of blowing up the safe. The materials that Joe used to detonate were somewhat strange, which surprised the two brothers because they believed that he would bring dynamite. They felt that their plan would fail, and they made sure of their feeling when Joe tried to blow up the pipes because the bomb did not go off. But on the second attempt, he managed to blow up the pipes. Because the car race had started, no one could hear the sound of the explosion. But the explosion caused smoke to come out, which made the employees report the matter. Two security personnel descend into the tunnel to see what is happening. We return again to Jimmy and the team that is with him after they were able to blow up the pipes. They managed to get the money and put it in big bags. They were filling the bags, but Joe's enthusiasm increased, who asked Jimmy to increase the speed so that they could complete their work quickly. But this speed makes them lose control of the pipes, making money fly everywhere. Joe asks Jimmy to change the direction of the device, resulting in Clyde's prosthetic arm being accidentally pulled off. Clyde was adamant about returning his prosthetic arm because if they left the prosthetic arm, the police would know he stole the money. Jimmy tells him he'll get his prosthetic arm back before they get out, but now they have to take the money. After that, we see Joe's brothers, who are transporting the money by means of a garbage truck, but on the way they meet the security guards who are looking for the source of the smoke. The security men thought that the two people in front of them were workers and asked them about the source of the smoke. But they told the security men that they did not know the source of the smoke, so the security men left them. The team was waiting for them to take out the money so that they would come back to them again to take the second meal of the money. When they were late, Jimmy asked Joe to go and check what was going on. We see the security men watching the smoke coming out of the door, and when they opened the door, they found an employee smoking cigarettes. They asked him to stop smoking and go back to work. Joe reaches his brothers to find out why they are late. He knew that there was a door that could not be opened. Then Jimmy goes out to see what's going on, but then he also meets the guards, and they also ask him about the smoke. After that he got to Joe and his brothers. He was able to help them open the door. Next we see the two people who had a fight with Jimmy and Clyde at the bar. We find out that they are two car racers, but they had a fight because they lost the race. They keep fighting in the corridor under the sports center. Then they meet Joe and Clyde. One of them recognizes Clyde. After that, we watch his son, Jimmy, as she prepares to sing on stage, and she was waiting for her Aunt Melly, because she had promised her that she would be there before the party started. Her mother tells her to calm down because her aunt will come in time. We return again to the team after they have completed their mission. Joe and Clyde ride with Melly. Jimmy moves out alone with the car containing the money. After that, we return to the prison, where the prisoners continue with their plan. They set fires and bring the fire closer to the fire alarm, which made the prison warden order the firefighters to come. Meanwhile, Joe and Clyde were wearing firefighter uniforms and riding in the fire engine. They were able to enter the prison again. Joe returns to his bed in the prison medical clinic. Also, Clyde returns to his prison cell. Meanwhile, Melly reaches her nephew before she is due to go on stage. Jimmy also comes to attend his daughter's party, who didn't start singing until after she made sure her father was coming. This is because she wanted to sing his favorite song and wanted him to hear it. After the party is over, Jimmy goes to the gas station, leaving the car with the money there. Then he rides with his Charger. After that, we see on the news that an unknown person has reported the presence of stolen money in a car at the gas station. Two detectives are assigned to find out who the thief is. But when they arrived at the place where the theft took place, they did not find any evidence. After that, the contestant who quarreled with the two brothers in the bar calls them, and he tells them that he saw Clyde at the time of the race, close to the scene of the robbery, and he tells them that there is another person with him as well. And he tells them that these two people beat him, and he also told them about what happened to him in the bar. But the investigators did not believe what he said, because Clyde's arm was cut off, so how could he hit someone like that? They considered that his accusation was just revenge against him. Then Clyde gets out of prison after serving 90 days in prison. Melly greets him and the two don't seem to know where Jimmy is. The investigators are still working on the case and they know that Clyde was in prison when the robbery took place, and there is no evidence to condemn him or his brother. But after 3 months had passed, they could not discover who the thief was, so the sports center decided to close the case, because they had obtained insurance for the money that was stolen, since they did not know the amount of money that was stolen. At the same time, Joe gets out of jail and goes to the bar to meet Clyde. He asked him about Jimmy's whereabouts and he asked him why Jimmy had handed the money over to the police. He tells him he doesn't know where Jimmy is and he tells him he's never met him. One day, there is a knock on Joe's door. He goes out but finds no one. Then he goes to the garden and digs and finds the money. We find out that all of this is a plan from Jimmy, where he wanted Joe and his brothers not to know about his plan. He had made an agreement with the worker to smoke cigarettes in the place as a camouflage for the smoke. He is also the one who stopped the door from working in front of Joe and his brothers, in order to delay them from the place. Meanwhile, his sister, Melly, entered the tunnel and helped them to move other bags of money, and all this without the knowledge of Joe and his brothers. He also took out his brother's prosthetic arm so he wouldn't be found guilty. He also erased all the fingerprints in the place. After that, he put the bags containing the money into the garbage containers. With the help of the person who was smoking cigarettes, he was able to move the money. After that, the money is buried in a remote location. After that, he returned to his brother, who asked him about the reason that made him hide the money and the reason for his disappearance. He told them he sure was being watched the whole time. The evidence for this is that his SIM card has not been locked, although he has not used it for 3 months, where it was supposed to be closed. He told them that after the SIM card was closed, he made sure that the case was closed. Then they all meet at the bar. Clyde was at the bar serving a woman a drink, as this woman is the investigator who was on the theft case. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this.